Welcome to Notorious Crafts. In this video, I will show you how you can make these miniature Jello desserts. They look really cute inside of a dollhouse kitchen. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I am always making different kinds of miniature crafts that are perfect for dolls or dollhouses or dioramas. And here are all the supplies that I am using. For the Jello shape, I am using this silicone mold to get that perfect Jello shape. I like this mold because it comes in many different sizes, which is perfect for working in many different size scales. I also have transparent resin dye in many different colors. And then I also have some soft resin. I'm trying soft resin for the first time. I'm hoping that this gives me a similar texture to real Jello. I also have these silicone mixing cups as well as some toothpicks to mix the resin. The first step is to get your clear resin into your silicone mixing cup and then just add 1 or 2 drops of the resin dye. You don't need too much of it to have a lot of color. And then with the toothpick, I'm just going to start mixing it. And then after I'm done mixing it, I'm going to let it stand for a little bit just so that the air bubbles get removed. Once there are no more air bubbles, I'm going to use my toothpick to start putting in the resin into the mold 1 drop at a time. I'm also making sure every single one of the edges gets filled out, and hopefully that prevents some air pockets from forming. Once the molds were filled up, I let it stand for a little bit so that any of the small air bubbles that were inside for them just to come up to the surface and be removed. And now I'm going to place it under my LED light so that it can harden. After some time under the light, the Jello is ready to be taken out of the mold. And here is how the red Jello dessert turned out. Since I used soft resin, it ended up being very flexible and has a texture just like real Jello. I love making miniatures that are very similar to the real thing. Next, I'm going to make the yellow Jello dessert. And to do that, I'm going to follow the same exact process as before. I'm just going to add some yellow resin dye to the clear resin and mix it well together. And then add it to the Jello mold. And then I let it rest for a few hours to let the air bubbles come to the surface, and then place it underneath the light so that it can harden. And just like the red ones, these ones are also very squishy. I really love the texture of this soft resin. It's really great for making miniature food. Next, I'm going to make these multicolored looking Jello with an ombre effect. To make orange resin, I'm just mixing some of the red and yellow dye together. And now that I have all 3 colors of the resin that I want, I'm going to start off with the yellow since that is the one that I want to be on the very top of the Jello. So I'm just going to place it 1 drop at a time inside of the mold. I am also only filling it up about 1/3 of the way to leave room for the other layers. So you don't want it to be too full. After I have my first layer, I'm going to place it underneath the light for it to harden before I start the next layer. After the yellow resin has hardened, I am using my toothpick to put in a few drops of the orange resin as the next layer. Since this one is the middle layer, I'm only filling it up about 2/3 of the way so that I still have some room for the red resin. And now I let it settle for about an hour just to make sure there weren't any more air bubbles. And now I'm going to place it underneath my light for it to harden. And now it's time for the very last layer. I am adding in some of the red. And now I'm going to place it underneath the light for the very last time so that it can harden and we can have some solid Jello pieces. Okay, time to take this Jello out of the mold and see how it looks like. I was hoping that there would be more of a distinction between the yellow and the orange, but it seems like it kind of got blended together. Maybe the colors were just slightly too similar to each other. It kind of looks like the whole thing is orange, but I am overall happy with how it looks, and it's a really cool effect. And now time to put all of my little Jello pieces inside of a little kitchen setup. I also handmade this table all on my own, so I'll put a link to that video down below in case you also want to make a miniature table. But let me know what you guys think of how these Jello pieces turned out. I definitely love the multicolored Jello. That one is for sure my favorite. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and see you guys in the next video.